Good afternoon and welcome back to the Mom Life Hack stage. For those of you who are just tuning in, I'm Carly Silverstein. I'm the CEO of Redstone Agency, an event management company based here in Toronto, executing all online digitally as a result of COVID. And I'm a mom to a 16-month-old baby girl, and I'm thrilled to be here with all of you at MomFest. So for the next few minutes, I am going to be joined by Jenna Ursini from Britax talking about car seat safety 101. And she'll tell you more details, but we are going to be giving one lucky attendee in this session a free car seat compliment of Britax. And Jenna, you'll give more details on that, and I'll be back at the end to announce the winner. And if you need anything from me, I'll see you at the end. Over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Carly. First off, thank you, MomCO, MomFest, Lana, Mikey, Osana. You guys have been amazing. I'm super, super excited to talk about a topic that I'm really and truly passionate about. Also, just so you guys know, we do have Glenn and also possibly Kate as well from Britax. They're going to be in our Life Hack stage chats. So definitely be sure to be commenting and asking questions, and they'll try to answer in real time while I keep running through my presentation. And also, just double click on the PowerPoint screen if you haven't already. It kind of expands, it makes it a little bit bigger, and that way you can see my visuals too. So hopefully they keep things interesting and help you out as well. First and foremost, I definitely want to start by saying that I am also a mom. I've got a 2-year-old, an amazing 2-year-old, and I am all too familiar with mom guilt, where, you know, you've thought you've done something right and then we're told to realize that, oh my God, you've done it completely wrong. So I'm really familiar with that. And I just want to say that the point of this whole talk and presentation is not to make you guys feel bad or guilty or worried. At the end of the day, this is about educating and empowering you when it comes to your child in their car seat. So, you know, we're going to be talking about a lot of common, and by common, I really and truly mean lots of people do this, misuses, mistakes, misunderstandings when it comes to the car seat. And I hope you come out of this feeling a little bit more confident. So let's dive in. First and foremost, for those of you who are not familiar with the brand Britax, they actually started in Britain over 50 years ago, manufacturing automotive safety equipment and motorcycle helmets. They then moved to seat belts and then eventually car seats and child passenger safety seats. They're a global company. We have manufacturing facilities all over the world, and we started selling and manufacturing in North America around 1996. So actually, majority of the car seats that are made for Canada are actually made in the US, so they are North American made products. Just a little comment about the hilarious picture up on screen. This picture makes me laugh so much. Clearly this kid is in the front seat, at least they're rear facing. I don't even know if they're harnessed in, but I posted it just to show you how far we've really come, you know, like it's all about changing with the times and our knowledge. And so, you know, just like moms, I think, you know, companies are doing the same. So we're always evolving and learning about new technologies to keep kids safe. So in addition to hopefully gaining a lot of new amazing knowledge, we did want to thank you for joining us. So as Carly mentioned, we have a very special giveaway. We are giving one person in this stage, I should say, a chance to win a car seat of your choice. So that's any available seat currently in any available fashion. You've got so many options to choose from. You do have to stay until the end, so make sure that you're hanging out and make sure you're commenting in those chats. Carly's gonna, you know, look at the activity, see who's kind of commenting, so you can be winning that. Really, really good prize, possibly almost a $600 value depending on the seat. The other thing too is we have partnered with one of our amazing online retailers, well.ca, for a little bit of a discount. So we've got our Grow With You Click Tight Harness to Booster seats at 15% off any fashion, including our brand new Stay Clean, which is a stain, odor, and moisture resistant fabric. It's actually the one in the picture there. So again, 15% off, ends tomorrow at noon. So it is while supplies last, so make sure to check that out too. So as I said, we're going to be going through the common mistakes, misses, and misuses. And the first thing I find most parents do is they ask the masses, what car seat should you get? I typically find this in a lot of mom Facebook groups that I'm a part of. They'll say like, hey, what car seat should I be getting? at the end of the day, the people commenting, they might not be in the same situation you. Best of intention, but they might not have the same budget, same vehicle, same age, weight, and height of child. Also, they might not be using their own car seat correctly, and they might not just be aware of other car seats out there that might be better suited for your situation. So at the end of the day, the best car seat for you is first and foremost one that properly fits your child. So age, weight, height, any other fit requirements. It needs to properly fit your child. Next, of course, will be fitting in your vehicle. So while most car seats will fit in most vehicles, it's not always the case. Sometimes they don't quite work as well together. So, making sure that it works properly in your vehicle is very important. So you're probably going to want to switch car seats versus buying a new car, but hey, maybe do want to get a new car. Also, easy to use, right? You're going to be using this most likely on a day-to-day basis. So you want to make sure that you could adjust the harness properly, tighten the straps, that kind of thing. And of course, easy to install. There's a lot of companies that do installations now, which is great. Don't get me wrong, that's an awesome feature. But at the end of the day, you want to take some ownership of the installation. So make sure you have a car seat that you can install. Also, it does need to be certified for use in Canada. We do have different restrictions, requirements, testing up here. So you do need a seat that is Transport Canada approved. So make sure that your car seat is good to use up here. It is illegal to cross-border shop. And finally, not expired. They do have expiration dates, and also one that was not used. Completely understand borrowing from friends and family members. It's a little bit more economical sometimes, but at the end of the day, I highly discourage you from going to like Kijiji or a garage sale and getting a car seat there. Sometimes there are parts missing, usually the manual's missing, and they might have had it in a car accident and not been forthcoming about that. So really, really important to think about. Now, in terms of, you've got your car seat now, where do you put it in your vehicle? So obviously in the back somewhere, not in the front, but choosing the right spot is really important. And there's a lot of things that you want to maybe consider before, choosing which spot to put it in. So first off, the vehicle size, the vehicle seat size. So is it going to fit your car seat? Is there a headrest that might be getting in the way of the car seat that you need to remove? Maybe the shape's a little awkward. Maybe there's like one of those big humps, typically in the center seat, that might stop the fit from properly fitting in, or sorry, the car seat from properly fitting. Next would be challenging to get the child in and out. So to give you an example, I had a friend, she was a little bit shorter in stature, and she decided that she wanted to try to install her infant car seat in the center. And I said, sure, let's give it a shot. So I put it in there and I told her, all right, now try and get the seat in and out. Very quickly, she learned that this was going to be incredibly challenging for her to do on a day-to-day basis. And if it's going to be hard, it also might become unsafe. So that wasn't then the best spot for her at the end of the day. And finally, the desired installation method that you want to use might not be available in the seat that you choose. So, you want to look into that as well. In Canada, there's actually two options for installation. You would either install using a seat belt or using the universal anchorage system, or latch, as it's often referred to. So don't know if you could see my little cursor, but I'm kind of like hovering over the latches that you find on your car seat. Those will connect to anchors in your vehicle. The anchors are typically recessed between the back of the seat and the seat itself. You can see my little video playing there to kind of show you. Any vehicle after 2002 should have those anchor points as well. So this is typically the most used method of installation, particularly at infant stage. It's typically seen as easier. So again, it's a good option there. Now that being said, common miss that I find a lot of people do is they say, all right, I'm going to install in the center and I'm going to install in latch. And then there actually is no latch available in the center. So a lot of vehicles don't actually offer center latch. Some do. So check your vehicle owner's manual to find out. But a lot, unfortunately, do not. Sometimes a vehicle in a car seat may allow what's called latch barring, which is where you can use the anchors from either the back passenger or the back driver's side. But sometimes with this style, You might not be able to get a tight installation. It also spreads the tether very thin. So you can see in the picture here, it's really taut and thin. That might be causing unwanted pressure. And again, not all vehicles and car seats allow this. So remember, if you do want to install in the center, and latch is not available, doesn't mean that you have no other options. You could look at the seatbelt as a method of installation instead. So ultimately, the center is definitely seen as the safest spot because there is a crumple zone then on either side of the seat, right? So you kind of have your front, your rear, and then on either side too. However, like we talked about earlier, it might not be the best spot for your particular situation, whether that be your vehicle or your car seat. So if the center isn't the best option, where is? Personally speaking, I actually like behind the front passenger for a couple of different reasons. First off, I live in a downtown area and I parallel park often. And so when you're parallel parking, if you're behind the passenger, you're always going to be taking that child out onto the sidewalk versus if they're on the driver's side, it's out into the street. The other thing too is space in the vehicle. So, you might have with a rear facing seat, whether that be infant or convertible, the front seat might need to be pushed forward. You might not have enough room there. So if the front passenger's a little squished, not a big deal. Maybe they even need to move to the back seat. But at the end of the day, your driver does need to have enough space and enough room to comfortably drive. If your seat's going to impede on their ability to do their job, the driver's job, then that probably is not the best spot for you. So definitely something to consider. So when it comes to installation, I understand that for most parents, this is a really daunting and nerve-wracking part of the car seat, right? Like, oh my God, how do I install it? But at the end of the day, I find that there's typically 4 common misses when somebody is installing. So the first thing would be the person not reading the manuals. And there's actually 2 manuals that you should be reading. You have your car seat manual and you have your vehicle owner's manual as well. The vehicle owner's manual is actually going to tell you things like where your anchors are, if you might need to remove a headrest, let's say, or maybe that a specific seat should not be used for a car seat. Your car seat owner's manual will tell you how to install your car seat and also how to use the car seat. So it's really important that you should be reading both of these manuals to be working safely ultimately. The other thing too is that I like to watch videos for installation just to kind of get a visual. I'm a really visual person. If you do choose to go on YouTube to check out an installation video, I highly recommend going to the Brand of Car Seats YouTube channel versus a random person like Mary from Saskatchewan. They may not know, what they're talking about and proper installations and stuff like that. So better to go with the brand for sure. Next common issue I find is the angle not being correct in the car seat. This is a particularly big issue for an infant. So usually an infant car seat you want, or I should say an infant or child who does not have head and neck control. So typically speaking, an infant child seat should be at about 45-degree angle. And the reason you want that is to allow for the airways to keep open. So if it's back at that angle, the child's head is back and those airways are open. If the seat is too pitched forward, the head will most likely flop forward and then you have disrupted airways. So it is important to get the correct angle. Now, a lot of car seats, in particular our Britax infant seats, actually have an easy to use angle adjusters. So you can see in my video here. And also there is usually an angle indicator too to help ensure that you have that proper angle. So definitely make sure that you are watching to make sure that angle is proper. Next would be when parents are like, all right, I'm going to be super safe. Let's attach the latches and use the seatbelt to install. Using both latch and seatbelt is not necessarily extra safety. In fact, unless your manual says otherwise, you should be using one or the other. When you get into a car, you do not put your seatbelt on and then another seatbelt on, right? The seatbelt should be doing the job. Same thing with this. Either the seatbelt installation or the latch installation should be doing the job. Now, again, if your car seat manual tells you to use both, by all means, follow those instructions. But most of the time, it says to use one or the other. So be sure to follow those instructions as well. So last but not least, by far, the most common miss when I find when I'm checking a car seat installation is the car seat being way too loose. It is not just about attaching the anchors or the seat belt. Ultimately, you want to tighten everything up. So you want to make sure that there's no more than an inch of movement side to side and back to front. And you want to be checking this at the belt path. So you could see in my little video, I'm kind of shaking it right where those anchor points are, and not at the back of the seat. So make sure you're checking that installation at the proper spot. Next on the list is this in particular comes to when parents have infants car seats still, and their child has clearly outgrown the height, but they haven't moved on to the next stage of car seat. So there are not only weight limitations, but height limitations and sometimes other fit limitations to consider. I find parents become very obsessed with weights of the car seat, like, oh, my car seat goes up to 35 pounds and my child's only 20 pounds. Typically speaking, most infants outgrow the height before the weight, not always, but most of the time. So make sure that you're looking at all the fit requirements, not just one. Another thing that parents often overlook is a fit requirement with our 1 inch rule. So typically speaking, a lot of infant car seats say that once the child is within about 1 inch, the top of their head, 1 inch to the top of the shell, then it's time to move on. Sometimes it's the headrest, sometimes it's the shell. So again, look at your own car seat's user guide. But once they start to get to that top of the car seat, definitely want to be considering moving onto a new stage. Every kid grows differently. Some are long in the torso and short in the legs. So, the head is a really big concern when it comes to car seat safety. Now, usually months to a year, it's completely child to child. But at the end of the day, worry less about how long your car seat is lasting you and more about the fit of the child themselves. So you have your infant stage. You now are like, okay, we're ready to move on. Woohoo! You've gone forward facing. You've gone to your next stage, which is your convertible stage. And you might think, oh, I should go forward facing. This is not necessarily the case. You want to try to rear face your child as long as possible. They are 5 times safer in a rear facing position. At the end of the day, our really big concern for the child would be that head, the neck, and the spine. And in a forward position, the movement on those 3 components is going to be so much more harsh than in a rear-facing one. So definitely you want to be keeping them rear-facing as long as possible. That being said, though, you also want to be aware of your maximum rear-facing requirements of your car seat. So the car seat will tell you, hey, once they hit either this weight or this height, then you do need to go forward facing in our seat. So just be aware of those two. Now, when I'm usually trying to convince a parent to stay rear facing longer, often the first thing they'll say is, my kid's feet are touching the back of the seat, so I must need to move them, or my kid's legs are bent. Let me be very clear, the feet touching the back of the seat is not a reason to go forward facing. It really and truly isn't. Kids are super flexible. I mean, I cannot personally put my foot in my mouth, but my kids sure can. So their feet touching back is really not a concern. Leg injury is pretty minimal. And again, not the concern. Head, neck, and spine, main thing we're looking at. So again, try and max out those rear facing requirements. And also, as far as your provincial policies are concerned, just be aware of those too, just to make sure that you understand what your province's guidelines are about forward facing. Next on the list, you've installed your car seat, you feel confident, but have you installed your child in the harness properly? So again, a lot of misses happening here, particularly when it comes to the positioning of the harness. When you are rear facing, you want that harness to be coming from right at the child's shoulder or from slightly below. So really wrapping around. You can see it kind of in the little picture on the bottom left. If you are forward facing, you want the harness to be just at or coming from slightly above. So make sure that your harness is sitting in the proper position depending on which direction they're facing. Next thing is too loose of a harness system. I think as new parents and even veteran parents, we are afraid to pull tight. We're afraid of hurting our child. But at the end of the day, you want that harness to be really snug to the child. Great way to test this is the actual pinch test. So what you do is you go right at the collarbone area, just kind of around that shoulder area, and you're going to try and pinch the webbing of the harness to see if you get excess fabric. If you get excess fabric, as you can see in my picture that I have up, it is too loose. Keep pulling tight. Also make sure that you're checking around the hip area as well. Sometimes there's some extra slack down there that you need to be pulling through the system as well. Last but not least, chest clip. Oh my goodness, this has to be a pet peeve of mine. It is a chest clip. It's not a cool belly button accessory. You do not want it sitting low on the child because in a collision, it's going to be digging into their tummies. So you really want it on that chest bone and again, right at armpit level. So make sure it's in the proper position there for sure. A little harness tip or hack, as I would say, is to look at a seat that might have a non-rethread harness. This is particularly great in a convertible car seat stage where they're installed in the vehicle. So a non-rethread harness, if you're not familiar, is one that where you would squeeze some sort of component, maybe lift something, and you can adjust the harness position up or down very easily. If you've got a manual or rethread harness, this would then require you to uninstall the car seat, unrethread, rethread the harness system, and then reinstall the car seat. A lot more complicated for sure. Definitely not ideal in minus 30-degree weather. And then also, you might, if you're paying someone to do your car seat installations for you, then you might want to, be aware of where that's, how much money you're going to be spending there. Also, harness positioning, I typically find that you're going to have more harness positions with a non-rethread, and also the head component also tends to go upwards and downwards with you as well. Our Britax click-tight convertibles actually have 14 harness positions. So this is really, really great to get you an exact fit. So as far as the fit in the vehicle is concerned when you're rear facing, it's really important to check if your car seat requires a little bit of space between the back of the car seat and the back of the front seat as well. So make sure that you're either doing a dry fit with your car seat to get that right fit, or you can also look at a car seat that has multiple recline positions. Our Britax click-tight convertibles, for instance, have 7 recline positions. So you might get a better fit as a result in your vehicle. Well, if loose car seats are the most common misuse in general, definitely not top tethering is the most common thing I find wrong in a forward-facing installation. So when you go forward-facing, you do have to top tether your car seat. If you're not familiar with this, I've got a little video playing to kind of show you that. But also make sure that you're anchoring it on the proper place. So your vehicle owner's manual will tell you where that anchor is in the vehicle. They can be in all sorts of places, sometimes on the ceiling, on the floor, behind the seat, on the back shelf. So again, make sure you're anchoring it on the proper spot. Usually it's symboled with a little anchor, like literally a ship anchor symbol. So it can indicate that, but again, check your vehicle manual. It is required to top tether in Canada when you go forward facing, and it prevents the seat from flipping forward as well. So definitely make sure that you are top tethering. It is a huge safety thing. Next would be your child has grown, they're getting bigger, and maybe you've used latch for your install. Well, newsflash, the anchors in the vehicle that you're attaching your latches onto do have weight limits. So you definitely want to be checking your vehicle owner's manual or with your vehicle manufacturer on what those limits are. And so most commonly, the 2 most common limits, I would say, would be a 40-pound weight limit, which is in reference to the child's weight. So once that child reaches 40 pounds or more, then you need to switch to a seatbelt. The other common one, and probably more used these days by vehicles and also car seat techs, would be the 65-pound weight limit. However, this is a combined weight limit of the car seat weight and the child's weight. So for example, if your car seat weighs 40 pounds and your child's 25 pounds, then you need to switch to a seatbelt installation. So ultimately, this is something to consider then for sure when you're looking at your next stage purchase to make sure that you have a seat that can be easily installed using the seatbelt. Our Britax ClickTight convertible seats offer our amazing ClickTight installation. I can typically install a seat in about 1 to 2 minutes. It's really that easy. Simply, you open up the panel, you thread the seatbelt through to the other side, click your buckle in, release any slack, close that panel shut, and you're good to go. I really get a super tight installation every single time. It's amazing. I love this car seat, I have to say. I've got an Advocate ClickTight myself. Very, very handy to use. Next would be, so, child's growing, you might start to think, all right, am I ready to move to a booster? You definitely don't want to move out of that harness too quickly. And if you are considering the booster stage, there's a few things that you really need to consider before moving on. So first off, a booster seat now is where your child is kind of sitting into a seat, and the seatbelt of the vehicle is what's keeping the child and the car seat in place. So no longer do you really have those anchors and the harness system holding them all in place. So when you are planning on moving, make sure your child is meeting the minimum height and weight requirements of the booster seat. And I really and truly don't mean close enough. So often I'll have parents come to me and say, oh, my kid's 37 pounds, close to 40 pounds, they can go in a booster. Not the case. You absolutely need to be hitting those minimums. In fact, I hope that you will exceed those minimums because you've maxed out the harness in your other car seat. The other thing too is, of course, being aware of your provincial guidelines as well. Most car seat, or I should say all car seats, should be working across Canada. But at the end of the day, it's good to be aware of your provincial guidelines. Also making sure that the seat belt is sitting properly on the child in the booster, so that that shoulder belt portion is coming across the chest, it's not digging into their neck, and that the lap belt is not riding high. It should be very low. You do not want it in the stomach area. That can absolutely cause some pretty significant injuries for sure. And then the final thing to consider would be, are they mature enough, right? So now they're going to have more access to the buckle. Are they going to be unbuckling themselves when you're in motion? Are they going to be removing the shoulder belt? You definitely want to make sure that they are mature enough to sit properly in the booster seat. I have here some pictures that I just want to share. So this is Care from With Care and her lovely daughter, Lucy. Lucy at the time was 6.5 years old, 49 pounds and 47 inches in height. And she's sitting in our Grow With You ClickTight seat. She fits actually in the harness of our Grow With You ClickTight seat. She works within the requirements, and she also works within the requirements of the booster. So just because you can move into the booster doesn't mean you necessarily should. And again, try and max out the harness stage and have a seat maybe that will allow you to use the harness for that much longer. So because we are having a special sale for our MomFest attendees, I did want to just briefly go over the Grow With You ClickTight. So this seat is a forward-facing only. It's good from 2 years and 25 pounds up to 65 pounds in a 5-point harness, and from 40 pounds up to 120 pounds as a booster. So it does convert into both stages. It's got a lot of great convenient features, including a non-rethread harness, as we talked about, was super awesome, with 9 positions. It's got cup holders, snack holders, nice little armrest. It does have our amazing ClickTight installation, so super easy to use, and a lot of great safety features, including 2 layers of side impact, a steel frame, our safe cells help with a crumple zone for cross energy absorbing. It's a really amazing seat. So we are offering, again, 15% off. I think this is like around $70 or more off the seat, so it's a really good sale. Any fashion while supplies last, and again ends tomorrow at noon. Definitely, if you want some more information on it, With Care, Care from With Care, did an awesome review of the seat. She is a certified child car seat technician, and so you can check out her review on her blog as well. So next would be when you are driving around with the child not in the booster, so they're not occupying the seat. You want to make sure that that booster is secure in the vehicle, because ultimately anything that's loose in the car in a collision could become a pretty serious projectile, especially when you're talking about a big car seat. It's usually heavy, maybe some metal components. You don't want that coming at you. So a lot of boosters these days do come with latch anchors to allow you to attach them in onto the vehicle. So when the child's not occupying it, it's secure. If you don't have the latch on your booster, you definitely want to be securing your booster with the seatbelt. So like almost buckling it up like you would your child. Again, this is just to keep yourself and anyone else in the vehicle safe when your child's not in that car seat. So last but not least, I wanted to touch base on this. This is kind of a hot topic at this time of year. Weather's changing, it's getting a little colder, and we're starting to see bulky snowsuits and jackets coming out. At the end of the day, you are going to have this false bulk created by a puffy jacket. So you may think that you've pulled the harness tight when in reality, there's actually a lot of space. A great way to check if your jacket is too bulky is to put the child into the jacket, put them in the car seat, and then tighten up the harness as much as you see fit. Then remove the child from the car seat without loosening the harness. Take the jacket off and then put them back in the seat and see how much room you have in that harness system. You will honestly be surprised how much space can be caused by a jacket. Ultimately, you do want that harness to be really snug up against the child. Ideally, you actually have the child in the car seat in what they wore inside. I'm sure some of you right now are rolling your eyes saying, Jenna, like, are you telling me to send my kid out to the car in nothing but a t-shirt or a long sleeve t-shirt? Absolutely not. There are 100% ways around this to keep your kid warm. A good recommendation would be to wear a blanket to the car. So wrap your kid in a blanket, bring them out, put them in the harness and put the blanket over top. Maybe warm up your car ahead of time or have them go out in the jacket. But once you get to the car, remove it quickly, put them in the harness, and then lay it over top of them. I actually did that all last year with my son. He was between a year and 18 months, kind of during the winter months. So yeah, we absolutely took the jacket off and then put him in the harness. You do want the harness to be as close to the body as possible. Also, just remember when you get into a car, typically speaking, the first thing I do in the winter is I turn on the heat. And I usually take off my jacket because I get too hot. If you've got your kid in a full snowsuit in the back, in a car seat, which is already confined, they will probably be sweating by the end of it. So be considerate too, like, they might want to be comfortable as well and not overheating in a big puffy jacket. So that being said, moms, dads, caregivers, whoever is out there in digital land, however you identify yourself, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope it was interesting. I hope you learned something. I hope you keep in touch with us. Definitely be sure to follow us at Britax Canada on Instagram or Britax Can on Facebook. Check out our website to see some of the amazing car seats that we have. We also have strollers, I should mention as well, and a lot of awesome accessories. Also, do not forget well.ca. 15% off our Grow With You Click Type Booster. So if this sounds like a good car seat for you, take advantage. It's going to end tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time and while supplies last. And yeah, we still have to pick a winner for a car seat. Do you need to be a Canadian resident? I don't know if there's international out there, but I'm super excited to be able to pick a winner for the car seat, or Carly, I guess, will be picking a car seat winner. So thank you so much for joining.
Okay, I'm back. That was a great presentation, Jenna. Thank you so, so much for all of that information. And everyone, you've been so interactive, which is awesome. The drum roll, please. The winner of the car seat is Kristen Ward.
Congratulations, Kristen.
So the instructions are, Kristen, I'm going to use the message feature of Hopin, the platform that we're on, so that we can exchange contact details. And then Jenna, I'll make sure that you and your team get email address, phone number, and that you require so you can connect and give the guidance that she needs to select the best car seat for her needs.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me, guys. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Carly. I hope I didn't run over my time. I was like, I don't even know what time it is.
You were perfect. You were perfect. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your generosity and that gifting, and have a great rest of the day and enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you guys so much for having us. Have a great rest of your evening, good rest of your week, and stay safe.
Bye.